what you have got. No more stormy weather, no more, that's for sure. No more stormy weather, I won't see you anymore. Bring it down, bring it back forever. Bring it down on the ground. Safe and sound, bring it back to never. Bring it down on the ground. No more secret talking, no more nails on top. No more secret talking, I don't think you'll ever stop. No more misbehaving, no more miss me not. No more misbehaving, then we'll see what you are not. Bring it down, bring it back forever. Bring it down on the ground. Safe and sound, bring it back to never. Bring it down on the ground.
What?
Always something.
Oh, we're getting a little feedback there.
Oh,
Hi.
that's because I'm immediately going to do this. Here, hold on. I'm going to mute.
I was like, oh, I'm just on my own. I can't hear you.
Back now. There we go.
There we
All
go.
right.
There we go.
Happy Sunday, everybody.
Happy Sunday. You're on the move, it looks like.
Yes. Welcome to our Sunday edition of this Sunday's edition of the Black Unicorn and the White Witch. I'm Miss Shannon. That is my friend Tiffany. And
Hello.
somewhere out here is my son, Cyclone Kid, who we're going to come get. So, right?
Yeah,
Here we go, buddy.
wanna-
Hi.
He didn't want to come inside, huh? He doesn't want to be inside for the live Black Unicorn and the White Witch.
Wow.
There he is.
No.
Wow.
You ready to come
Hi,
inside?
Tommy.
He said no, come inside.
No garbage.
Want to come inside?
No garbage. No garbage.
It's come inside. Okay, well, let's go in the backyard.
No, it does.
Yes, backyard. Come on, let's go in the backyard. Go on, we'll go in the backyard.
No, it does.
It's freezing out here. I
You
take
know-
that back. It's Minnesota. It's not that bad. It's
No.
fall. It's what you expect.
Wow.
You know.
And he's a dude. Dudes are always hot.
Right.
Men
Look at
are
him.
always,
He's,
they're
very-
always hot.
he's a Minnesotan. Look at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad used to do that in the wintertime all the time. He would be like, he'd be sitting in the apartment. He's like, it's
No,
too
my God.
hot. And he'd be in like shorts and a t-shirt.
my
And
God.
then he'd go stand outside on the patio deck when it was like 10
Right.
degrees. and just
Yeah.
you just see the steam roll off
Wake
of
up.
him.
I have that child. I have that
Wake
man.
up.
He lives with me.
Wow.
So yeah, we'll just go in the backyard.
No, my God.
No front yard.
No, my God.
I don't even know why. All the good stuff's in the
Wow.
backyard.
Yeah, all the toys are in the backyard. I played with them the other day.
Right. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. We're going to go ahead and do our show, and I'm going to watch them through the window where I have a coat in my living room, because that's just the day it is, and I don't feel like fighting with him because it's not that serious. So
No.
he's right here. Here, look. I think I can move that this way, and then I'm like, so he's there.
There he is. He
I
just
don't know
looks like
why.
he looks like a prowler just sitting out there just looking in the window like, what are you doing,
Like,
lady?
it's his yard. If he wants to be out there, that's fine. So I'll just open the door and he can do him.
Yeah.
Are you
know how
ready to come in? He said no, come in. Okay, that's
no,
cool.
no, come in. No, come in.
So how are you, Tiffany?
I'm good. I was so excited. I can't believe it. We beat the Packers.
Yeah, I saw that. You know
I had
what?
to take a nap. I was emotionally exhausted. I needed a nap afterwards. Like it was.
Old Shannon would have cared, but because I'm still a fan of the Packers, but I haven't been, footballing as aggressively as I used to in my youth.
Right.
At all. So I didn't even know we were playing, which is not what old Shannon would have known when we were playing and did this, and you and I would have had a bet and all this stuff. And now, meh.
Well,
So
if you're gonna take a season off, this wasn't your worst one. Although it's so bizarre, we have lost almost every game has been less than 3 points that we've lost by, and somehow now we're still in the hunt for the playoffs, which is bizarre.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, weirder things have happened in the universe that we live in at this time. We live in a weird universe, and in the grand scheme of things, it has been a blessing that we get to still care about football. So I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. So
and Aaron Rodgers was not playing like himself. I think he's maybe still, he might be in his head a little bit. Everybody's been going to town on him pretty hard for the last 2 weeks for being an idiot. So
right, and that happens. So I do want to say hello to our friend Mark, or your friend Mark, who's in the chat. So hello to him. Yeah, thanks for joining us. I will figure out how to do this remotely in a second and put your things up on the chat. But in the meantime, we're just going to keep doing it this way, because the thing that I think is so interesting about what's going on right now, like the fact that my kid is out there, I don't know how everybody else's school is, but we got the email in his school, went back to distance learning.
They did?
Yeah. So hello, additional Mark. Good to see you as well. So Mark K and Mark H are both in the chat. Hello to both Marks. So I was saying that I got the email, and when I talked to Tiffany and our friend Dallas, who was over, they were both over here yesterday. It was, we were talking about how it might be a possibility that they would go back to distance learning for a while, and that's where we're at now. So Mark K, I'm not quite sitting in the dark. I'm up in my living room instead of down in my studio because Cyclone Kid, my kiddo, does not want to come in the house. And so he is outside, and I'm watching him through the window because it's cold and I don't want to be out there. So that's why. So
I'm kind of in the dark because I'm at the the boyfriend's house, and but a victory over the Packers is a lot sweeter when you're in Wisconsin when it happens. So,
but he's Wisconsin, like there. Here we go. At least on my side, I can do a little bit about it and turn on another light in the living room. Is he, even though he lives on that side of the border, is he a fan over there?
Yeah, he doesn't care. He doesn't even really watch football. He's not really into it. He watches it because I like it, but I just basically make him watch the Vikings game every weekend. And so
he's sitting here going, I should be, why are you yelling at me just because I live over here?
Well, he bears a little bit of a resemblance to Aaron Rodgers. And so he didn't. Yeah, a little bit. And so people for years were coming up to him and saying, you look like Aaron Rodgers. And he didn't want to sound stupid, but he's like, who's that? He didn't know who that was. So
I think that's fair, even though, the two of us are football fans, and we are we're fans of celebrities, but there is a big difference between sports celebrities and people like Brad Pitt,
Right.
kind of thing. And so I think that there are pop culture celebrities who are still so above and beyond, like a person in a grocery store would know who they are. And sport celebrities still need to be a celebrity for something other than sports. Like Aaron Rodgers is almost to that point because he's in a couple of commercials and some other things like that. That is what I really think really gets you to that level where non-sports people know who you are, is that you have to do non-sports related things. Because I've hosted a couple of different sports related charity events. And even me, as someone who knows this stuff, I have to go back through my Rolodex and go, now, what does this NBA player look like? And I know he's a big deal NBA player, and I recognize him as an NBA player, but I still have to Google him. So,
Sure.
Tiffany, just want to let you know you do have a compliment from Mark K in the chat. He said that he loved your Addams Family costumes for you and your boyfriend. I concur, Mark K. They looked wonderful and incredibly happy. That was a well-selected couple's costume that you and the boyfriend did for Halloween. So well done. Very well done.
Thank you. And Gomez and Morticia are near and dear to my hearts because I feel like they were one of the healthiest relationships we were ever shown on TV. They're totally into each other. They love everything that each other does, no matter how weird it is. We all need somebody like that. Someone who embraces
and
their
they lean
weirdness.
into one another's weird. And even when they kind of act like they're going to acknowledge the weirdness, they're excited by it.
Right.
And that I do agree that is one of the best things about their relationship is that they'll bring up the weirdness, and you're expecting them to go, what? And call each other on it. And they're like, no, instead it's, I love everything about your weirdness. So that is very charming. I agree with you. So that is fantastic. So yeah, I didn't even dress up this year. I put on a Halloween themed t-shirt and just gave out candy to the kiddos, kind of stuff. So the Cyclone Kid wasn't down with it that year either. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Because usually that, he's the one that I talk into a couples thing, and he wasn't feeling it, so we just didn't do it this year. We just gave it out candy. And I chose wisely. I chose candy that neither he nor I liked.
There you go.
And so it all went away. And I was very efficient. I gave away my last handful of candy to a lovely group of neighbor kids at 8:25, because I said I'm turning off the light at 8:30.
Sure.
Because it gets dark enough around here, and we have enough little kids that I'm like, I think that's late enough. You know?
It is. 9 o'clock is usually when it's kind of a wrap. When I was a kid, though, man, we would go around until we would go until we could drop. We were just we had to be home by 10. I think was the rule. I think 10.
What? 10 o'clock. Yeah. See, now that sounds late, but maybe that's because. And Mark, we're gonna be in the super dark because I'm walking down my steps. I have to put I'm gonna paint this eventually, so maybe I'll put some running lights like I have in my office.
There you go.
In my studio, and do that. So yeah, he decided to come inside. So maybe he got cold, or he got fine with the fact that mom didn't care enough about him staying outside. So
I thought this was going to be a lot more fun, making her mad, but now
and
she doesn't even care.
Nope. This you need to turn off. There we go. Right. That should make it not squeak for a while.
There we go.
All right. Yeah. So and now this all needs to come back in. Look at that technology. All right. So
you got it worked out though. When you have to go roving reporter, that's pretty seamless, actually.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that it's a possibility. Because we love doing the show and I love talking to you, but the reality is that the priority for both of us is that we're both moms and working women and all of these things, and really glad that we get to be content creators like this, but also have to life and so that means that you have to be flexible and be able to do some other things. So if that means I gotta go back and forth, I might as well plug everything in and do this. So everybody gets to see my house that's clean sometimes and clean not. And here we go.
That's everybody's house.
Right. My house, I will say this. It is normally, it's not dirty. It's never dirty. It may be messy. Our house is very lived in, but it's not dirty. So I'll take that. I'll
Right.
take that. So congratulations to everybody who got a little tour of what we had. So Mark says he bought candy to give out, but shut the lights off and ate it
Ate the
in the
candy in the
dark.
dark.
Oh,
Solid.
Mark.
Solid choice, Mark.
Yeah, choices were made.
Yeah.
My whole thing is that if you're gonna do it, did you eat it in the dark because you wanted to have a date with yourself and make mood lighting? I hope that that's the case. That you weren't like trying to like feel, down on yourself for eating all your candy. You bought that candy. You own that candy. You don't have to give it out. You
That's
can
right.
change your mind, make a pivot.
Mhm.
Own it. Enjoy it. Be proud about the fact that you ate all that candy, and then brush your teeth,
Yep.
sleep off the sugar coma,
Oh
and
my God.
call it a day.
Yeah, I didn't buy any candy this year. Well, because my building, there's no kids. My
Mhm.
building, it's basically everybody's there's you see a few little kids, but very,
They're
very
like
few.
grandkids, though.
They are. They are. And
Mhm.
it's like, yeah. So no risk to old Tiff here.
No, that's one of the things. It's like sugary candy isn't my primary fault. I'm more of a savory person, like more likely to eat up all of the salty snacks. Like if I had a can of Pringles, or if for some reason Halloween you were supposed to give away Triscuits, oh, those be all gone. They'd get none of them. But candy, that's pretty safe. They could
You
do
should
it.
have you
Like
should have given the kids the pirate's booty. That's your
the
favorite.
pirate's booty. That would have been appropriate. Maybe next year. Everybody gets a bag. I'll go to Costco and I'll get a whole bunch of them. Go back home.
Yeah, go back home. That's what
No,
they're
that's
doing,
because he's
John.
teasing me. He's teasing me because they lost. It's
Yeah.
whatever, John. I'm not worried about it. And, I used to be a lot more aggressively anti-Vikings, but then I became best friends with Tiffany, and it legitimately hurt her soul when I would
Yeah.
make fun of them. So
It
I just
would.
let it go.
Yeah.
I just let it go.
Yeah. You've come around. Well, because
Yes.
you weren't really emotionally attached to the Packers anyway. You moved here from Arizona and you're like, I got to pick a team. These guys
Right.
win. These guys lose all the time. I'll pick the winning team. Why not?
And at the time, also, a lot of it was I didn't like the Vikings players that I had met at the time. Because
Ah.
that was also when I was on the co-host of the morning show here.
Mhm.
So they were always throwing parties with rappers, and they sucked. I'm like, you need to go home and read a playbook and pray. Yeah, they did win today. They pulled it out. Yeah,
The
so they
Vikings
pulled it
won
out.
today. Yes.
Yes. Which is
And
why
and
John Sullivan's coming at me. Yeah.
yeah,
So
the person who helped us with that a lot, Mark, was Adam Thielen from Mankato State. What? Minnesota State
well
University,
done.
Mankato.
Well done. All right, let's do a few Minnesota-based stories before I have to run back out.
Yeah.
We were going to talk about you're a fan of the show What We Do in the Shadows,
Oh my
but
God. Yes.
I want to do that, but let's do the Minnesota-based stories first. So
Okay.
I'm going to start with a good one. I do not have, as anybody who was out there saw, I don't have my Christmas lights up, but that's just, even though I know quite often here in Minnesota, we put our Christmas lights up before Thanksgiving because of weather-related
Yeah.
reasons.
Because it's warmer.
I can't. I don't even want to put them up and then ignore them. I don't want to put them up and just not turn them on. I know some people do that where they just don't turn them on
Yeah.
until after Thanksgiving. I don't even want to do that. So I just wait. But Esquire magazine every year comes out with a list of like the best holiday towns. And funny enough, a lot of times we as Minnesotans end up on a lot of these lists, but only one Minnesota city made it onto this year's Esquire's list of towns to visit at Christmas. And Tiffany, do you want to guess before I pull up the article?
Oh, I don't know. Duluth? That seems Christmassy.
Absolutely. Yes.
Really? I
Yes.
guessed it right? I didn't actually
That's
look at the
right.
link.
Look at that.
Okay.
Now wait. So we were both very familiar with that bridge. Now
Sure.
look at how Christmas town. Well
Oh, that's
done.
cute.
Yes, out there on the bay. And so it's on the list of the 27 best Christmas towns to put on your holiday bucket list. And so that's good. So there's been times before where they've been before, but this one where we've been on the list before, other towns in Minnesota. But this year, not only was Duluth the only one, it made it all the way up to, look at that, number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3 of your places you should put on your holiday bucket list. So well done. I can see that if you're looking at what I would consider a hallmark variety of Christmas town, holiday town, I do think that Duluth has the work parts
Yeah.
to be that. Like the way the bridges look, the way that the houses look, all of those things. Like you're not gonna pick Phoenix, Arizona. I don't think anybody goes, yeah, this is what I think the holidays look like. And I grew up there. So
Yeah, I would think Stillwater might make it because it's very old-timey kind of, you know what I mean? Like it's like
Okay.
a Norman Rockwell type thing, and you got the water.
mhm.
But you know, Duluth is fun. And they didn't
Yep.
show it in the shot, but that's my favorite bridge is the Dick Bong Bridge.
Yes, the Dick Bong.
The Richard, if you're not familiar, there
Richard
was a
Bong.
man named Richard Bong, and they dedicated a bridge to him. And yeah, they've got a very interesting plaque dedicating the bridge to him, which talks about him growing into manhood. It's a very
And we're like,
odd-
this is so phallic, and you don't seem
Yes.
to care.
no,
But
lean
that's
in
Duluth for you. Right. Exactly.
Big
Exactly.
dick energy. This bridge
Big
has.
dick, big dick bridge energy.
Yes,
That's
it
what
does.
Big dick bridge energy.
So
Hello
silly.
to our friend Paul, who's also in the chat. Welcome to the chat, Paul. Good to see you. Happy birthday, Paul. Happy
Oh,
belated
happy birthday.
Yep. So he just
Happy birthday to all
we'll
the girls
say
and
he's
boys.
22. I'll say he's 22. He's not, but I think that's a good age for Paul. Paul, we'll call you 22. If you want to go ahead and share your actual age, feel free to let everybody in the chat know.
Sure.
Also want to say hello to our friend Peggy Miller, who is out there.
Peggy.
Peggy is also in the chat. So congratulations to Peggy, who is our favorite. Like the fact of we had a lot of friends that stopped dyeing their hair. I will tell you this. I do think that Peggy Miller, of my friends who stopped dyeing during the pandemic, I do think she wears it the best. Like
Yeah.
she wears it very well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
very,
agree.
very well. Oh, did we? Well, we did not miss Paul's birthday, but it looks like we missed John's birthday. Did we miss it?
Oh,
Was it
no.
recent? When was your birthday, John?
Oh, I think it
'Cause you
was.
were-
Remember we talked about it was coming up or something?
So we
I think
said
it was
it's
recent.
coming, and then we didn't. So our bad, John. So happy belated birthday to you as well, Mr. Sullivan. So yeah, we'll have to do like a collective cake for
Sure.
everyone. Like I have a cupcake upstairs that we can do a smash to.
Okay.
You know, kind of thing, just to say that's it. Oh, so it just happened. So November 17th was Mr. Sullivan's birthday.
Okay,
So
so
you're
3
right
days ago.
there with Paul. So you're
Yeah.
right there. So you guys are like adjacent, birthday adjacent. So that's all good. Hello to we have another friend of yours.
Oh, Mike.
Yeah.
That reminds me. Oh, dye my beard again. Yeah. Hey, Mike. Mike,
Mhm.
he was my boss years ago. We used to work together. Great boss. He always used
In
to sign
which
my expense
iteration?
reports.
Which career? Which
When I
career?
was a mortgage banker.
Ah, well
Yeah.
done. Well, welcome to the chat. That is a very complex industry. I listen to you regale me of all the stories of being a mortgage banker. Yes.
Right.
Because when I worked at the bank, it was nowhere near mortgages. I was still pretty much me, just did marketing. It's
Yep.
like, hey, you should like us. And then I would buy things to encourage people to like us.
Sure.
So you actually have to like do things.
Yeah,
that happen.
people at times actively don't like me. They're like,
You
I
don't always
mean
give them the answer they want.
correct.
Yeah.
I don't take it personally. It's just sometimes things don't work.
Mhm. So would you like to, okay, I think we have time to do both of these. We'll do this one first. So there's all these things. If you do not live with us here in the state of Minnesota, there are lots of things that they tell you as you are getting prepared for the winter that you need to do, including making sure that you close your sheds and your garage doors and all
Right.
this stuff, because you'll get varmints in there, and
Mhm.
that's what you'll do. So speaking of varmints, this one particular family had the most varminty of varmints move into their garage. And so this poor family, what they noticed is they're like, hey, we saw this raccoon and it was in the garage. And so this poor family in Wisconsin had to go and figure out how to get this raccoon.
Oh, look at
Poor guy. I know. So he didn't initially crawl into that snowblower. And I actually have this same John Deere green snowblower in my garage. So
Okay.
I should go make sure nothing's stuck in it. It's not the one that I use, so I don't have to worry about it. So it just, it's the old one that I need to just put on Facebook Marketplace and get rid of. So if anybody wants to come get an old snowblower that works ish, you're welcome to. So the
Raccoon free. It's raccoon free.
It's raccoon free. There's no raccoon in it. I have not seen any raccoons in my neighborhood over here on the western suburbs, but in Wisconsin, they're a lot more prevalent. So they saw the raccoon in the garage. They tried to get the raccoon out of the garage, Tiffany, and the raccoon would not come out. The way that they tell the story, the raccoon actually clung with its little hands to like the garage wall.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, well, we got to leave. We got to go to work and blah, 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 blah. And so they left. And by the time they came back, it had wedged itself into this snow blower. And they took like an all afternoon to try and get it out.
Aw.
And they were finally like, we're going to have to take the snow blower apart. To be able to get it out. I think they have another picture. Like, look at it.
Oh
like,
man.
And so they're like, we're gonna have to take it out because we're gonna have to take this the side apart. And instead, they were finally able to somehow grab the raccoon's back legs.
Okay.
And after do that, they were able to like slide him out of that precarious position that he's in, and then he ran off into the woods. So at least they managed to get him out of there. So I was like, okay, good job, well done. So yeah.
Well, and good thing that they got him out of there too, because they like to chew wires and all that kind of stuff. Like they could really do some damage to themselves. And I mean, and God forbid you didn't look before you fired the thing up. Oh my God!
Absolutely.
Even though like maybe raccoons aren't like we don't have the affinity for them as we would like a cat or a dog or something, but still they're cute. And you would feel, oh my God, I would feel awful
if you turn that out. And that's what, I can't think of. I don't want to be friends with the person who would get glee from that happening.
And it would just be like everywhere.
Right. And I'm like, I would have nightmares.
Yep.
I think anything would be hell on a classic car if it lived in there. Paul,
squirrels are the worst though.
Yeah, squirrels are the worst. I've never had I don't have a classic car. I have a Ford. And not like a Model A or Model T or anything, like just a regular old Ford. And the closest I've gotten is some mice moved into mine, and I'm glad I didn't find them. My car was acting odd. I took it to the mechanics, and they said, by the way, do you feed your cat in the garage? I said, I don't. And they're like, there's mice in here. That's why I was making that noise. So they had nested in it.
Ooh.
So they had nested in it. And so they were able to get rid of the mice. And they're like, do you want to see a picture? And I'm like, I do not, mechanic.
Not really.
I do not. No, I trust you to dispose of the mice. And where they were living near the exhaust system, that was what it was. They had made a little home because it was warm.
Yep, they like it. Yeah, because the heat, they like that.
So I'm like, gotcha, lesson learned. And I throw a bunch of mothballs in I don't know if I haven't had this problem again, but after I looked it up and found out it was something that happened very often here in Minnesota, I just keep a lot of mothballs and stuff in my garage, hoping that it would ward them off.
Weren't we talking? Was I talking to you about this or someone else recently? But I'm like, remember mothballs? When I was a kid, mothballs were everywhere. Like, people have closets and all that stuff. Like,
now there's a bunch of other stuff.
Mothballs anymore, I guess was my point. Like, is that even
you can still get them. I got my mothballs at Walmart, so they still have them. They're just like, there's not a whole shelf of them. There's like here, old people, here, like, not even old people, throwback people, go get them, kind of thing. Yeah. So yes, you are right. I read this as well, that use dryer sheets, do that. I have dryer sheets in my basement tucked away in the corners because I'm just preemptive about mice moving in. And I read that as well. Dryer sheets and then peppermint oil. I read that. So I just sprinkle that around the house. That's my version of saging. And so I don't want ghosts or spirits in my house, but I also don't want mice. So I just used all the wives' tales all at one time.
I don't want ghosts or mice. That's great.
No,
Yeah, or
no.
raccoons.
No. And I have a cat, and I think that just in general,
Well, that
they were
helps.
like, yeah. So I've never had a mouse problem at my house, but there have been mice around. So I don't want them to go, hey, you know what? That house looks welcoming. You are correct, mice, and I don't want you here. Yeah, Paul, thank you very much. I read that. Yeah, Mark, I do have a cat, and he is a very cat-like cat. So I think that's part of the reason why I've never had mice problems, because I will tell you this, after I moved out when I was getting divorced, I brought the cat with me, and my ex-husband kept the dog. And then they had to, and my ex was never a fan of my cat. But then after I moved out and they got all the North Minneapolis mice moving in the house, they went out and they're like, you know what? Cats don't suck. Right. So now they have a cat.
Yeah. Cats
I'm
are
like,
good.
you didn't like my cat, but yeah. Yeah. My cat does, just being around. And he's a very aggressively cat-like cat. So we get along well with the cat and I. So that's fine. All right, Tiffany, I have this story about what we think was near to a comedy club you and I used to frequent over in the great city of Hopkins. So
Oh
do you
my
want
God.
do you want to bring people up to speed on this particular story? Here, I'll
Sure.
bring it up for you in the chat. Here we go.
Absolutely. So there was this gal. Well, basically, it came to the attention of law enforcement. Yes, right next to, we used to perform at this place called Royal Comedy Theater, right in downtown in Hopkins. And next to it, for years, whenever we would go there, I would threaten to go see, because there was a second floor psychic in the building next door.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got the sign, and then it's got like the palms, thing. And I was like, one of these days I'm going to go over there. I'm going to get.
And we're like, no. We're like, no, you can talk to go talk to the witches at the Renaissance Festival like you normally do. Stay away from this second floor psychic. That's
yeah. Apparently, don't go to second floor psychics.
No.
So this gal has been accused and found guilty of swindling money up to $130,000 from some vulnerable adults and people by saying that she could lift or prevent curses. There was one gentleman whose mother was sick, and she convinced him to basically give her a ton of money. If she didn't, then the mother would die. Things along that line. So,
and how can you, right? And I can just, if you grew up even slightly superstitious like you and I did, I can see why, if there are already things going awry in your life, you're like, well, I don't want to believe this, but if I'm wrong, that's awful. Absolutely awful.
Yeah, I feel, and what's weird though to me, and maybe it isn't, but the woman was quite young that did this. She was like 20, it says in the story, I think like 26 or something like that. And I was like, that's a lot of confidence to have at that age. You know what? I'm just going to manipulate dark forces. I'm going to steal money from vulnerable adults. It feels really, I don't know. I feel like there's more to the story. Like, who taught her how to do that? Because that's not a book you can just pick up at community college. Like
Psychic Cynthia, she called herself. Psychic Cynthia.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think that there are certain grifter, there's a methodology to it. So they go, okay, what are the type of people who will do this type of thing? What are the type of people that I can prey upon? And what kinds of stories and narratives can I spin to vulnerable people? And a lot of it is like, you're at your wit's end. You just want to go, okay, what can I do? It starts as a lark. And then you're like, oh, I've got one. Oh, you have somebody sick, and they divulge certain things about themselves because they're in a position of, of desperation. And then this terrible human being gets to prey upon them. So I'm glad they caught her. I'm so glad they caught her, because this is also the kind of thing that we could have been in the millions before they caught her.
Right.
Absolutely. Because who knows, there's so, especially with the way things have been going now, people are looking for any opportunity to make the bad stop. So
yeah, no kidding. Although, I will, and I'm not saying we should take advantage of people. I'm not condoning this woman's behavior or anything like that. I will say, however, though, it's interesting because they call that swindling. But if you basically, how do they prove that she didn't lift the curse?
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
how do you know what I mean? Like, let's put it this way, if that person had gone and spent $88,000 at a casino and then said, I need my money back, you can't say you were swindled, but you can
Right.
say it if it was a psychic. So, because a psychic is actually for entertainment purposes, just like gambling. So,
Fair enough.
I understand that
Well,
people
this
maybe,
complaint, this one I like. The case of the first victim said that she told him he had been cursed at conception
yeah,
and she could lift the curse with $3,000 worth of candles. But then she got the money. He never saw the candles. And then she said, no, I burned them at a secret ceremony.
yeah, you can't come to the secret
That you
ceremony
can't.
that I
Yeah,
burned
it's
them
too
at. Yeah.
dangerous. It's too dangerous for you to go. So, yeah. So I just, that's it. Oh, Peggy, of course you did. Peggy? Man.
She dated a psychic.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Right. Okay. On our third, she said it.
I think what you're thinking. Okay.
Okay. We were going to go to bed together. I said, no, I'm thinking I have to trim my toenails. So so Peggy, did you know she was a psychic when you agreed to the first
Yeah.
date?
Yeah.
That's
Did she
what
tell
I
you that?
wondered.
Did she tell you that she had a curse she could lift? Did she like? How did she?
Did she tell you that if you didn't go on a fourth date with her, she
Then a
would
curse
curse
would.
you? Like
Then a
there are
curse would be
kinds of
set.
terrible things. And and Peggy, if you knew she was a psychic when you went out with her the first date, I can't even fault you because when I was younger, I used to go out for people. Yeah, she's like, yes. Major. Yeah, okay. Here's the thing. I used to go out Match.com.
Oh, Match.com.
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 And my thing that I know now that what I don't need is to go out with people just because they're an interesting story.
Right.
But that for a while I did. And you're like, why are you going out with them? I'm like, well, if nothing else, it'll be interesting. Now I'm like, no.
There's a lot of great television. You can be interested in a lot of different
Exactly. I
ways
can go
that are
see a
not
movie.
vulnerable. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
the clown guy, like interesting story, but
Don't need to go out with you kind of thing.
right.
And we're not talking about the first clown guy that I went with, who I didn't know was a clown until after we dated. Another guy who up
Yeah.
front said he was a
guy.
clown guy. And I'm like,
Yeah.
lessons have been learned in my life. I'm not dating you. So no, the fact that you've divulged yourself that you're like a clown and you did a bunch of like one-man clown shows,
Right.
I'm out. Absolutely out. Peggy, I know you're up for everything, but you don't have to be.
Well,
Like,
or
you've
maybe she
already,
wants
like-
to. Free readings. Why not? I mean, if she's good,
Right? All right. Peggy, you do you. You go out there and you live on the wild side. You date all those interesting women and you can tell me about the stories because if they talk to me, I'll be like, I'm not the woman for you, but I
Right.
have a friend. That's what I'm going
Right.
to say now. So next time,
Right.
next time I meet a woman that's a little on the interesting side, I'll go, maybe not me, but I'll go, Peggy,
Right.
I got
Right.
somebody for you. I'm
Right.
like,
Peggy,
yeah.
snake handler.
Right.
Yes.
We are down. I'm like, my girlfriend
Oh,
is
geez.
down for it. Yes. Bring all your stuff. Bring all of it. I would like continue to, if you know what I'm going to start doing, Peggy, if I see them, here's what I'm going to do, Tiffany. When I see them pop up in my feed, I'll just screenshot them. And then I'll send them to Peggy and I'll tell her, here's the parameters to make sure that she sets up her Hinge profile. So
Okay.
I'm all like, so they're this age. Do you have this age? Are you like, what mile setting do you have set on your Hinge profile? So I'll tell her so we can add the parameters so that the people will show up in her chat.
Oh my
And then we
God.
all get to win because I
There
get to
you
hear
go.
about whether they turn out to be interesting mates. And then I don't have to go. Because that's the thing is that some of them are very pretty people. I'm just like, no, I don't volunteer for complex is what I'm saying anymore. I no longer volunteer for complex. I did that
Okay.
for decades. I'm not doing that anymore. So
All right.
Peggy, do you?
So you just want someone just meat and potatoes.
No, not at all. I want complementary complexities to what I already
Okay.
have.
I thought you said you didn't
That's
want complex. Okay. So
No, I
I'm
want,
gonna-
so I don't want, because I don't want to say crazy. So I'm trying to figure out another way to like go, I want sparkle. How about that? I want
Sure.
sparkle, not
Yeah.
layers of complexity. Because sparkle,
Okay.
I'm all good with. So
Okay.
I just have to come up. I'm trying to add to my vocabulary. I'm trying to like synonym this whole thing because I
Okay.
want interesting.
I love cinnamon. Cinnamon. I put cinnamon on everything.
All right, so this isn't cinnamon related, but we do have a food/liquor related to but Morticia and Gomez, Mark, as we discussed, they were down for each other's weird. So
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. So once you've earned the fact that we're going to have that symbiotic weird relationship, totally. Right. I'm not leading with that where any weird is acceptable anymore. And I used to do that because I'm like, well, you're weird. So whatever weird they've got. And I'm like, no, now it needs to be complimentary.
Right.
To my weird. So that's
right.
it.
Like you're not hard line. No more, we're not dating any more wizards or clowns or warlocks.
Mm-hmm. That warlock was a bad idea. No more warlocks. I love weird people. I'm just saying that they're great. There's certain variety of weird that I no longer need to date. That's all. I'm not trying, like if I had a genie and I could blink people off the planet, it wouldn't be the weird people. There's some other people I'd get rid of. There wouldn't be anybody weird.
No.
I like weird. I love weird. I'll go drink with weird. I just don't need to date certain kinds of weird anymore because I have tried. That is all I'm saying.
Yes. Well, we're all looking for someone who gets our weirdness, you know.
Exactly. You know, and I want to get their weirdness. And there's lots of things where I'm like, that doesn't bug me. And there's other things I'm like, yeah, but not that. Like the warlock. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I thought I would not be bothered by the warlock, and I clearly was. So that's it. Do we need to write a dating book just to tell the stories?
Yours would be pretty good. I don't have that many. I don't have that many.
You were married a long time.
Yeah, and they weren't.
And your outlying stories were not that odd. You're right.
No,
they were pretty anything that they did where they messed up in a way where like, okay.
Yeah, I'm just attracted to your garden variety alcoholic. You know, that's just it. I mean, that's my level of interesting. It's like, ooh, what shit show am I coming home to today? Okay.
Right. Yeah. No, mine are like literally like, and then there was a pentagram, and you're like, yeah, that's where I draw the line.
Nah.
Yeah.
No
I bet you Paul does have some epic dating stories. I would sit around and I would have a cocktail with Paul. And
we can have that be our question of the week. We can just, you know, like in 2 sentences, what was the weirdest date or the weirdest person? Maybe.
Yeah. Because you know what? The warlock isn't even the weirdest thing I've ever dated.
No, it's not actually. No, it's not.
You're like, did they have it on their dating prep? I said, yeah, I was fascinated.
Yeah.
Fascinated. You know? And
speaking of warlocks.
You know what's funny? I'm cool with warlocks, but I turned the guy who dresses up as Jareth from Labyrinth. I'm like, no, I'm not matching with that. So and I love that movie. But I'm like, no, if you're a professional Jareth from Labyrinth, I'm not doing that.
Are you on like a whole different dating website than I ever was? Where I didn't see any of those people.
On Bumble.
Weird.
Okay. I know. I just don't know. You must have had I don't even know. Okay, so Paul says one of the weirdest women I've dated met up with her at Up Down as she lived at a group home down the street. Okay.
Well,
yeah.
You know, I mean,
convenience.
She's got roommates. That's fine.
Yeah. So,
you know,
I have been asked out. Like I have been asked out on numerous occasions from men who have first asked me for money. As people who are like, hey, can you help a brother out? And I'll give them the money. And then they'll go, so what you doing next Tuesday? And I'm like, wow, Wimpy, how did that work? You know, kind of like that has happened to me on more than one occasion. Yeah, Paul, you're right. I didn't think like Bumble seems like I've had friends who've had great luck on Bumble. I had weird luck on Bumble too. I agree. I was surprised how weird the luck. I had better luck on Tinder.
Yeah. It was, well, I think for me, it was kind of 50-50. I met a lot of nice people on Bumble that I didn't want to go on a second date with. And then, but there was like the Tinder guy, the one Tinder date though, was the guy who was the ex-con who told me he was a counselor. And what I realized is that he is not a professional counselor. He just works you know,
Right.
with other guys who are, recently unincarcerated. And then he wouldn't tell me what he was convicted of. And I know he did 10 years. So that's sketch right there.
That's very sketch.
That's
Kim,
not
you
like
are lucky that you are successfully in a relationship. Like, yeah, it is very difficult as adults to like add on things. I like this one. Peggy, I dated a woman who had a cottage at a nudist colony.
I'm cool with that. That's fine.
Do they have do cottages, are those like timeshares? So do you have do you pop in and out or do you VRBO it the rest of the time, or does she live there?
You just sit on the front, in the swing, just swinging,
hanging,
just swinging back and forth.
Hawaii is the place to go and do a nudist colony.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've got one in Wisconsin, and I've
I heard that.
Well, have you ever been invited? I know comics have been invited. They do comedy shows occasionally where they'll bring someone in and then they're like, it's optional. You can do your comedy nude or with clothes. It's like, I think clothes.
Yeah. And I'm not I barely want to wear, I love a costume, and I don't wear costumes usually unless there's a very particular reason why I need a theme. So I'm like, oh, no, I'm not doing that. So she lived there. I was freaked out about the naked.
Oh,
Peggy,
well, yeah. I mean, if you're not into that,
that is fascinating to me. I can take or leave naked. I would not primarily live most of my life because I do like a good support garment and foundational garment, but I am body positive enough that I can get by here and there.
Yeah, I just don't like sitting on surfaces.
Yeah, it's
nude.
just
Like I could be nude, but I would need a towel. I would need some kind of a drop cloth. For resting.
Yeah. Paul, you can go and do that one in Florida. Yeah. One of these days, the naked people, I'm not opposed to naked people. I don't want to be so I like it where I would never want to accidentally end up in a nudist colony. But if I knew that that's what's going to be there, then I'd be like, okay, let's go look around. I would go with Peggy to a nudist colony and wander about and just be fascinated by everybody that was being naked while they were there.
It would be jarring if you just thought you had booked into a regular resort.
Right.
And then you're like, why is everybody naked? And they're like, why didn't you read the pamphlet? That's what we do here.
Right, exactly. No smudges on the furniture. Right. So some furniture would just be like, I don't want to sit naked on wicker. That sounds very uncomfortable.
Although
it's pokey. Yeah, pokey. It sounds pokey.
I don't want to sit on any rattan. Let's put it that way.
No rattan. No. Only beanbags.
Why does everything look like? Why does my stuff look like waffle fries?
Exactly. That does not sound sexy.
No.
Yeah. So Paul, yes, message us the story, and then we'll find out a distilled version of it, and then maybe we'll send you a link next time we do a show, and you can tell the story out loud. Because some of you are like, okay, that's too much to put in the chat. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it. Hey, are you done with me talking? You want me to talk 5 more minutes, and then we'll be done? Yeah.
He's thinking about it.
He's like done with my shenanigans.
Although I accidentally saw a nude beach. I mean, it wasn't an accident, but in France, you can be topless. And we were in France, and I was on this bus with my dad, and that was uncomfortable. I was like 19, and it's like, then there's boobs, and he's like, I'm like, oh God. And then there's
I don't want to have this conversation with your dad either.
No.
Mm-hmm. For anybody who doesn't follow me on social media, I just want to do this real quick, just because Cyclone Kid just came in, and you'll see part of the reason why he's sick of my shenanigans is I've been trying to
get him to exercise. Yeah.
With me. And just to tell everybody else out there who doesn't know, I used to be an aerobics instructor. So I really like group fitness classes. So yesterday I tried to, yes, I do. Tiffany can relate to my kid because you and I went to one group fitness class together, and you did not seem to enjoy the experience.
I did not enjoy the experience, and you could tell I didn't enjoy the experience. And she kept coaching me. She's like, "Come on, pick up them knees, pick up those knees, pick up the pace." And I'm like, "Knock it off. I am exhausted. We're just stretching. We're 5 minutes in. I already want to run away."
All right, so here's what we did. Here's Cyclone Kid.
Yep. So you're doing your beach body video.
Yeah.
And then this is, he's supposed to be mirroring you.
And he's doing part of it.
Yeah, he's doing it. He's doing it. He's got his meh shirt on.
And you can see him looking at me. That's how he felt. He's like, this whole thing is meh.
He's like, and then he's
we
like,
get
oh,
to the
now,
part,
now he's thinking about something else. And now he's like, okay, now I'm
it's
doing my
like,
feet.
I'll do
All right, now I'm
some
doing it.
marches. And I'm like, you see him look at me like,
And then you're doing the
woman.
sway into the hips, and he's like,
He
I
put
love
his
how
hands
he
up.
puts the hands on his hip though.
He's like, nah, I'm out.
Yep. Yep.
I'm like, come on,
He
buddy,
just-
sway. He's like, no sway.
Nope.
And
That's
I'm like,
exactly,
come
that's
on.
me. That was me with Shannon at the group class. I'm like,
That is true. That's
uh-huh,
about how
uh-huh.
long you lasted.
Yep.
48 seconds of
I'll
I
be
am done.
upstairs. You can find me upstairs. I'm going to adjourn.
We're gonna keep trying though. You know,
Yeah, well,
I
yeah, you gotta
understand.
try.
We're gonna keep trying. I'm gonna find one that he likes enough. Like kind of thing. Like he's not gonna love any of them, but I'm gonna find one he likes enough, right, buddy? Right? We're gonna do our dancing. You want to do some dancing? He's like, no dancing. She's like, oh,
He's like,
you're
not
dancing.
you too, Tiffany. You were the one person on my side.
You're supposed to be with me. Is what
Yeah.
he's like.
I know. I feel
You're-
that. I get
You're
it.
supposed to tell mom her shenanigans are not wanted here. That's
Right?
So next time. So we'll have more adventures. But in the meantime, speaking of adventures, we always appreciate everybody joining us for our weekly live streams here, the Black Unicorn and the White Witch. He loves you too, Kim. He thinks you are the best. Yeah. So if you would be kind enough to like and subscribe to our channels, we'll always appreciate it. You feel free to share them like our good friend Paul does. You can go ahead and share them. And if you ever have anything that you want to share in the broadcast, feel free to let us know throughout the week. You can go ahead and send us some information, and we'll be happy to go ahead and try and include any of those stories. Tiffany, what do we decide? Next Sunday, are we doing it or not? Because it's Thanksgiving weekend. What are you thinking?
Oh, I think we should. You know
Okay.
why? We're all
At
gonna
least
we're
do a
gonna need
short show.
we're gonna need
Yes.
emotional support. I got family. Yeah, there's forced family fun time. I think
Gotcha.
we'll have Friendsgiving. We'll have a belated Friendsgiving.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have to, but I think
No,
people will
I'm
be
gonna be
around.
home.
Yeah.
I'm fine with
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can do it.
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing. Thank you for asking. Peggy asked us to post our Venmo in the chat. There it is. We haven't done that in a while because I forgot to to post that as we're doing it. So we would love anybody if you want to support us. It always goes into new equipment and the occasional cocktail for Tiffany and I. And
Those
the
are
other
props.
thing-
Those are very important props.
we want to remind everybody, save the date, New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
We got together with our friend Dallas yesterday. We took some promo photos that we're going to use and get all of that information there. But you will have a chance to see us perform together again for our return of the New Year's Eve show at the New Hope Cinema Grill. There's going to be 2 shows, a 7 and a 9:30. Go ahead and hold the time, and we'll make sure that we share that opportunity to buy tickets as soon as possible. They're also a great venue that we're happy to continue to support. So,
Yep.
yeah. So if you're looking for a place to go hang out and you live over in the West Metro, you can
Yeah.
always hang out over at the New Hope Cinema Grill, and you can also come see Tiffany and I, come see us at the New Hope Cinema Grill on New Year's Eve. We're also going to have our good friend Dan Bublitz Jr., who is very funny, very talented gentleman who's going to join us as part of that show. So keep that on your calendar. We're going to be able to ring the New Year's in together. And I think that looming means that I should wrap up the show.
I think it. He looks like a bouncer that's about to walk you out of a comedy club for
Right.
talking. It's like
So
you're
me
gonna
and-
need to grab your purse, ma'am. We're leaving.
Right. So me and Mr. Furry Pants, we're going to go have a great evening. Everybody enjoy their week. We'll see you guys very soon. And have a great week and a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. So
Yes,
bye.
happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
Bye.
Spent my whole life trying to find someone who'd take a little search for clues, trying to shake the sidewalk blues. Wanna feel like I won't let away. Every next step that I take, the broken piece starts to bend, shake. So I sat down and prayed for rain. When I heard the stars crash to the ground, my hands are fed, were tightly bound, and a voice said,